Alright, today class, what I will discuss is all about the CVP. Alright, so the CVP in terms of your sales mix. Okay, so we discussed already about the CVP, alright, the cost, volume, profit analysis. But now, we haven't talked about the sales mix. Explain the term of the sales mix and the effects of it in terms of determining our break even. Okay, so that's our topic for today. Alright. So, we need to say class, what do you mean here of a sales mix? Okay? So, when you say about sales mix, it's the one of the assumptions of your CVP analysis. So, that's what you call your cost, volume, profit analysis, right? So, mini class, if you notice, in our CVP analysis, you have only one product, diba? You have only one product. But now, in terms of the sales mix, if you notice, you have two or more or one or more product is involved. Kaya nga ang tawag dito class ay sales mix. Okay? The sales mix of the product that will remain constant. Alright. So what do you mean here of sales mix? No? So it is the relative combination in which the company's product are being sold. Okay, for example class, in terms of the sales mix is that if you have 4 is to 1. No? For example, if 4 shares are sold with each table, the sales mix of shares to tables is 4 is to 1. So that's the meaning or the reason or why you have your sales mix. Alright, how do we do that? No? But before that, we go first to the meaning of our break even. Ano nga class yung break even? Hopefully, you still remember, ha? What is break even? The break even is that your net income is 0. Wherein the break even sales is equals to your total cost. Or your break even sales is equals to your variable cost plus fixed cost, right? Or your CM is equals to your fixed cost. Or the CM minus fixed cost is 0. That's the meaning class of what you call the break even. Okay. How about naman in terms of the break-even analysis in your sales mix? So, ano bang ibig sabihin class niyan, no? Alright. So, the break-even analysis daw can be computed for a mix of 2 or more products. So, yung class ang sinasabi, no? You have 2 or more products. Okay? By determining, please take note of the term weighted average contribution margin. Yes, last, we will compute for the weighted average contribution margin if you have a sales mix. Okay. To illustrate, assume that Vargo Video sells both VCRs and TV at the following per unit date. Okay. So, if you have the VCRs and you have the TVs, so selling price is you have 500 and you have the variable cost of 300. And you have your contribution margin of 200 and the sales mix is 3. While the TV is that you have an 800 selling price, you have the variable cost of 400 and the CM naman is worth 400. Ano class ang gagawin natin if you have the sales mix? And the sales mix here is you have 3 is to 1. Alright. So una class gagawin natin is that in terms of the break even, the total contribution margin for your sales mix, for example, of 3 VCRs to 1 TV is 1,000. Can be computed as follows. How do we computed for our break even for the CM? So we just multiply the CM by your sales mix. That's why in TV VCRs you have 3 and TV naman you have 1. That's why 200 times 3, plus 400 times 1, magkano class yung ating contribution margin? Our CM here is worth 1,000. Okay? Our CM here is worth 1,000. Okay, but we will compute for our weighted average unit contribution margin. Okay? In which the total CM divided by the number of units in your sales mix. Yes. How do we do that? Diba we compute already for our 250. For 1,000. Okay. 3 is to 1 is that 3 plus 1 is 4. That's why we just divide 1,000 by 4 and you have 250. And the sales mix is at 250. 1,000 divided by 4. Alright, so you have here 250. Okay. Alright. So, how do we get naman our break-even sales mix? Okay. By the way, class, no? Kahit hindi kasama dito, pag-compute natin ng break-evens weighted average contribution ratio, no? Just divide lang by the CM total after you multiply it with your sales mix, okay? And divide it by the sales, okay? Kasi ito class ay more on your unit contribution margin. Okay. Then the use of the weighted average unit contribution to compute for the break even is that what if you have fixed cost of 200,000? Just divide it by 250. That would be the your weighted average CM, right? As discussed a while ago. So, mini class, magkano yung break even natin? Our break even here is worth 800. Okay? Our break even is worth 800. Alright. But, please take note of this class, no? Hindi pa tayo tapos kasi we will also compute for our break even each, no? So, break even in terms of each product. How do we do that? Okay? So, yan class. Okay? So, note that if you notice class, 3:4 is you have 75 and 1:4 is you have 25%. Since we have an 800, we have 250, we have 250, now if you notice, go back again, no? So our break even is, the average CM is 250 and you have 800 as the break even point. How do we divide it, no, in terms of the VCRs and TV? Since again, 3:4, 3 is for VCRs, and 1 is for TV. So, mini class, the 800 is to be multiplied by 3:4, and you have here 600. And also, in terms of TV, 1:4, 800 times 1:4, you have 200. Meaning to say, class, yung 800 daw na ating break-even is that 600 applicable to the VCRs, while 200 applicable naman to TV. Just multiply it by your unit contribution margin. Alright? So, the unit CM here is worth 200. And the TV naman, just multiply it by 400. Your total contribution margin is worth 120,000. And TV naman is worth 80,000. So, class, all in all, magkano lahat? So, your total CM is worth 200,000. Alright. Please take note of this. Now, management should continually review the company's sales mix. Now, at any level of units sold, net income will be greater if more high CM units are sold than low CM units. So, malamang, mas malaki ang high VCRs because VCRs has 600 in terms of your unit sales. Well, TV naman is you have 200. Okay? So, all in all, our total CM is worth 200,000. Okay? Alright. Next one. Next one, although it is part of your relevant costing, alright, so we will discuss already, no, about it, no, about the relevant costing, because in terms of the sales mix, no, particularly about determining the sales mix, okay, sales mix in terms of companies with the limited resources, and determining the sales mix when the companies has a limited resources. So, meaning to say, class, when the company has a limited resources, alright, very important here. For example, paano masasabi na limited resources? For example, floor space, kulang yung floor space mo, kulang yung raw materials mo, yung machine hours mo din kulang, no? Management must decide which products to make and sell in order to maximize your profit. So, although class, no, it is part of your relevant costing, okay lang. So, we will discuss already about this one. So, how do we do that, no? So in allocation class of the sales mix of a limited resources, no, it is necessary to find your contribution margin per unit, no, in terms of a limited resources. Okay, class, no? So if you have a limited resources, very important daw to have contribution margin per unit of a limited resources. So it is obtained by, so paano mo siya mako-compute class, no? Particularly about this one, no? Obtained daw to class, it is obtained by dividing the CM per unit of each product by the number of units of the limited resource required for each product. So, yung class So, the production should be geared to the product with the highest CM per unit in terms of a limited resource. So, please take note class yan ang pinaka-importante, no? To have or to get the highest contribution margin per unit of a limited resource. Alright. So, in terms of your limited resources class, for example, we assume that Collins Company manufactures deluxe and standard pen and pencil sets. Alright? The limited resource is machine capacity, which is at 3,600 per month. Alright, so gumagawa daw tayo ng deluxe and standard. So the CM per unit in terms of deluxe is $8, while standard naman is worth $6, while the machine hours required per unit is 0.4 and standard naman is worth 0.2. Okay, so ano class ang gagawin mo class, no? Should Collins Company shift the sales mix towards deluxe or standard sets? So, depende yan class sa gagawin natin, no? About the standards and at the same time about your deluxe. Okay. Based on the previous data, it might appear that deluxe is more profitable since they have the higher contribution margin. However, okay, di ba mas malaki yung deluxe 8 versus 6. However, please take note that the standard sets take fewer machine because ang kailangan mo lang ay 0.2, no? That's why because of the limited resources, no? Therefore, it is necessary to find the CM of limited resources of standard as shown below. Okay. So deluxe that you have $8, standard naman is you have $6. All right? And the machine hours required per unit is 0.4 and also you have your 0.2. All right. So, mini class, ano class yung kanina sabi? Just divide, di ba? Just divide 8 by 0.4 and you have $20. And standard naman, just divide the 6 by the 0.2 and you have $30. Ano class yung kanina? Ano nga yung pinaka decision? We will choose with the highest contribution margin per limited resource. Okay. Since the standard set has the higher contribution margin per unit of a limited resource, sales mix should shift toward that product. Okay? So, mini class, what we will choose is our standard because standard has highest CM per limited resource. Alright. To prove na tama yung ginagawa natin is that the result is confirmed by this following. Okay. So, for example, class, machine hours is 600 and if produced standard set naman as 600, so just multiply it by the standard which is at 20 and 30 respectively. So, ano kasi ang pinaka-okay? Diba? Ang pinaka-okay ay yung ating produce standards because in terms of producing standards, we have 18,000. Okay? So, once again, it is clear that standard set produce more contribution margin. So, thus, given adequate demand for standard sets. Yes. Alright? And the sales mix should shift to that product in order to maximize Collins Company's income. Okay, so that's our choice class, no? Alright. So, again, our decision is to choose or to produce standard sets because with the highest CM, and at the same time you have the highest contribution margin total. Alright. So what are the other consideration class of the decision making? Although it is part of your relevant costing, no? Okay, in this chapter we discussed about quantitative, qualitative, no? The focus was primarily on your quantitative, no? It can be easily expressed in terms of numbers or factors that will affect your decision. Alright. So many of the decisions involving this one as part of the incremental analysis have important naman in terms of your qualitative information. While not easily measured, should not be ignored. Meaning to say, class, meaning to say, very important is your financial, your quantitative, at the same time, your qualitative. Okay. So the last one, the other consideration is also about your activity-based costing. Okay? We discussed already activity-based costing, not to allocate the overhead cost. Alright? And the concepts presented in this chapter are completely consistent with with the use of the activity-based costing. In fact, the activity-based costing will result in a better identifications of relevant costs. Okay? Don't worry, class. No? I will discuss naman relevant costing soon when we are now in the incremental or relevant costing. So again, thank you very much and see you soon. Bye-bye.